Hey guys, how you doing? Ron here with TechTipsToGo. So in today's video, we're going to be talking about Kusama. So I know a lot of people in my private group are saying, well, why Kusama? Why are you talking about Kusama? I thought you were big on Polkadot. So yes, I'm big on Polkadot, but if you understand what Kusama is actually the wild cousin of Polkadot. So people are asking, why did you go from Polkadot to Kusama? Well, my Polkadot bag is already full. So, I reached my goal. I reached my goal of 100,000 Polkadot. So once I reached my goal of 100,000 Polkadot, I decided, like, what's the next big thing? And just kidding. I don't own 100,000. I wish I owned 100,000 Polkadot. But anyways, I reached my goal for Polkadot. So the reason, like I said, the reason why I got into Kusama is because I saw a lot of the demand. What's coming up? Akala, Karura, parachain auctions, right? Where do you start off when you actually want to go and get onto Polkadot? You go onto Kusama. Where is all the testing done? Extending the reach of Polkadot or extending the use case and trying things. If you can't do it on Polkadot, where do you go? You go on the Kusama, which is the cousin of Polkadot, right? And if you're not familiar with Polkadot and who owns it and who developed it or who created it, the team behind it is Gavin Woods. So Dr. Gavin Woods is the creator, the CTO of Ethereum. He is the one who wrote Solidity. He is the one who created the programming language Solidity, right? He left to create the Web3 Foundation, and underneath the Web3 Foundation is Polkadot and Kusama, right? So people think that Kusama is just a test net, but no, a lot of people that don't get on or that are wanting to get onto the Polkadot parachain, you either start off on Kusama and you stay there and you try and eventually get onto Polkadot, or eventually they're just going to be bridged, right? But I don't see that bridge happening for a long time because, with Kusama, they call it like the wild cousin. So Kusama network is like canary. So basically the lookout, right? Because you could do all your testing, your development, extend what you're doing on Polkadot, test the limits, right? Test something that you can't really do on Polkadot, you do it on Kusama, right? And as we see and as we grow, and if you look on Twitter, there's a lot of parachain auctions that are happening or going to happen on Kusama, right? And then if they don't get onto Polkadot, they're just going to eventually stay on Kusama, right? Which is no problem. People are asking why Kusama, and someone said, well, isn't Kusama a little too expensive? And I said, well, no. Look, if you look at Kusama, it's $104. What's Bitcoin? Bitcoin is 32,000. Is there a lot of room for Kusama to grow? Yes, I do. Yes, I think. And part of the reason why is because Kusama, if you look at the total, the circulating supply is only 9.6 million. Yes, it's at $100, but where could this go? Could it 10x? It's easy 1x. It's easy going from 105 to 200 easy in a short period of time. But in a bull run, you're looking at like 3, 4, 5, 6, 7x with its total market cap only at 800 million, right? Whereas you look at Ethereum, we're at 46 billion. So even to get half of that to 20 billion, that's a huge X, right? Especially with the circulating supply of only being 9.6 billion, right? And part of the characteristics, if you compare this to Bitcoin, I'm not saying this is Bitcoin, but why do people like Bitcoin? The number one reason why communities and cryptocurrencies grow is what? It's communities. Right? Community is number one when it comes to cryptocurrencies. If you have a strong community, a cult, people believe in the product, right? It's huge. Like I said, I've been pitched a lot of coins in the last week. I've been pitched coins where the owner owns 54% of the circulating supply, where there's no team behind it. Yes, Kusama is a little different. And I'll talk about, me relating this to Bitcoin. Right, is one community. Kusama has a huge community. It's like a cult. If you actually look on Twitter, look on YouTube, look at the supporters. Number two is this. There is no kill switch. What does this mean? This means that there's no central authority that can take down. There's no central authority. There's no one that you can knock on their door and say, hey, Mr. Kusama owners, you got to take down your stuff. This is driven by the community. They work with nominated POS, nominated proof of stake. So it's completely different. There's proof of work like Bitcoin, but you've got networks like parachain slots, like Polkadot that are running nominated proof of stake. So when you look at this, there's no central kill switch. There's no authority like the SEC that can take down Kusama. You got to take down all of the validators that are in the Kusama network. And if you look at my screen, if you go to staking, you've got 876 validators online with over 3,000 nominators in here, right? Look at all the validators. So there's no central kill switch. You can't take down the Kusama network unless you went to over about 1,000 different nodes out there and take them down one by one, right? It's impossible, right? On top of that, it's just not a test net. So it's a Polkadot parachain. Kusama will have its own parachain. Kusama and Polkadot network may eventually be bridged, with Kusama remaining as the R&D chain for the crazy experiments, right? So that's what I was saying. When you want to go above and beyond and test more than you can do on Polkadot, you go to Kusama. It's kind of like the canary. Like when you look at a canary, it's at the lookout, right? So that's what Kusama is. It's the wild cousin that's always looking out. You could extend the reach, extend what you're doing on the Polkadot parachains, right? Test the limits. So that's why I'm so bullish on Kusama. I've been loading my bags. That's my next bag that I'm looking at loading. I was going to go into a little bit more Bitcoin, but I decided I'm going to get more into Kusama KSM. Now, people are asking staking. So I'm not going to get into the full step-by-step details on how to stake. I'm just going to go over analysis and overview, a comparison of Kusama staking on Kraken versus Kusama staking on-chain, right? On-chain meaning on Kusama network. Okay, so the pros and cons. With Kraken, you could do it in 3 clicks. You come over here, you go to staking. As you can see, I've got about 900, I got 1,000 DOT. So it's the exact same thing. You get 12%. And let's say I want to do the max. I could do the max and click done. That's all you have to do. Now, the downside of this is what they say, that terminology is not your keys, not your crypto. This is on a centralized exchange, okay? Anything can happen. It can get hacked. But the positive side is Kraken has never been hacked. They do have insurance. On top of that, they actually partnered with the Wisconsin bank. It was actually a milestone, one of the first cryptocurrency exchanges, centralized exchanges, to actually partner with a bank in Wisconsin, right? That is regulated and everything. So those are the pros and cons. Kraken, very easy to use. You get a nice 12%, opposed to staking on Kusama. So now let's get into Kusama and what you're going to need to do, what you're going to need to learn. So there's 4 main things that you're going to need to learn with Kusama and terminology. You're going to need to know what a stash account is, a controller account, being a nominator versus being a validator. Okay, so those are the 4 main things that you're going to need to know. A stash account is like your cold wallet, like your ledger. Your stash account is where you hold most of your Polkadot, your Kusama. Your controller account is actually does what it does. It controls your stash account and what you do. Whether you bond or you unbond, you nominate, meaning you're going to nominate on a validator. So basically, I'm going to take what's in my stash account and I'm going to be a nominator to take my Kusama or Polkadot and reward it or nominate it to a validator to get rewards. Okay. Now, the 4th thing is a validator. What I talked about, a validator is someone who helps with the security of the network and helps with all the on-chain stuff. So a validator will get more rewards, and you stake all of your Kusama or your Polkadot on a Kusama validator. Now, what makes it difficult, it's not just easy, pick any validator and you can stake. There's a lot of things that you have to look at. You have to see if they have an on-chain identity, right? Or do they have a regular identity? They have email, right? So as you can see, I selected this person with a little chain because they have links to their social profiles. It's kind of like doing your due diligence of a company before you do business with them. Do they have identity, a corporation? Is there a face to the company, etc.? Right? The same thing with picking validators. You can see their Twitter handle, the website, their email, right? The parent is Keep Node, and then also the Riot for communications. On top of that is you also have to look to see if they're actually getting rewards, because if you pick a validator that's not getting nominated, or that's not getting, or that's waiting, or that's not getting rewarded, you're not going to get rewarded because that validator has to give a portion of those rewards to you. So you could come over here to this little graph, select it. Now you can look at the era points. So you can see all the era points, the elected stake, the rewards and slashes. So has this validator been slashed? Meaning, have they been slashed because they're down or they weren't able to nominate because their node was down? And if you see a lot of slashes, that means that you run into a risk of potential that you will get slashed and you won't get rewards and you could lose some of your funds. So the commission, what are they charging in terms of commission? And has the commission been steady? Because if you see someone that has a commission that's going from 2% to 10% and up and down, that's someone that's not keeping their commission steady, right? It's just like you being an owner of a company and not giving the right commissions to a salesperson. That salesperson is going to come back to you and say, why is my commission going down every month, right? So that's one thing that you have to keep an eye on, and you have to consistently keep an eye on. Whereas with Kraken, all you need to do is just set and forget, but not your keys, not your crypto, right? So another thing to look at is targets. So with targets, you can look at all of the validators. You can say, I only want to look at validators that have an identity. I want to make sure that they have a payout that was recently. So you can look at all the recent payouts. This person was paid yesterday, 2 days. So you want to pick someone that was recently paid out. The amount of commission that they're charging right here. Also, what is the return APY percentage? 17.8%. And also another factor to include is how much skin in the game do they have? How much of their own stake do they have? So as you can see, this person only has 1 KSM. This one has 53. This one has 206 KSM, 51 KSM, right? So then again, you click on here to make sure that there's no slashes. They're getting rewards within this era. The elected stake and the commission is fine, okay? So those are all the things that you have to constantly keep up with, because if your validator goes down and they keep getting slashes a month later, you're going to have to make sure you might need to nominate onto another validator. So that's everything for the video. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope this kind of opened up your eyes why I decided to get into more Kusama and KSM and where I think it's going. But like I said, I do have a free course down below. It does talk about how to stake, how to onboard, how to buy cryptocurrency. I'm going to be adding all of my tutorials on Kusama and Polkadot in there. So in today's video is just the kind of overview, and all of the instructions and how-tos are going to be in my free course. So anyways, I hope you liked the video. Please comment, subscribe, like, and I'll see you in the next one.